Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel called Tam's Take. My name is Tameshka or Tammy. This is my first ever YouTube video and I'm really excited to be making it. My hope for this channel is to talk about all things spiritual, including Reiki, general well-being, having a positive mindset, and tips for self-improvement. This is all my experience, so I don't have any professional qualifications in any psychological course or anything like that. I am a Reiki practitioner and my day job is in finance, so this is just from my perspective, hence the name Tam's Take. Okay, so this video is going to be talking about Reiki and what it is and my experience with it. So there's going to be 5 sections. The first will be what is Reiki, the second, the benefits of Reiki, the third, my experience with Reiki and why I love it so much, and the fourth, chakras or energy center. The last section is what happens during a session. So let's get to it. What is Reiki? Reiki is a healing technique that was founded in Japan. The word Reiki is Japanese. The first part, Rei, means universal and Ki is energy or life force energy. So it's a universal life force energy. The Reiki is administered to balance that energy within everybody. So everything is energy and we're all made up of energy. Sometimes there might be a blockage or an imbalance, and once you receive Reiki, you feel more centered. Reiki is not associated with any religion and there are no beliefs that you need to follow in order to receive a healing, and it will work whether you believe in it or not. There are 5 principles which are quite general. So the 5 Reiki principles are: I will not worry, I will not anger, I will be grateful, I will work with honesty and integrity, and I will be kind to all living things. Reiki is light, good, beneficial energy. There's nothing negative associated with it. There might be reactions that we have, like crying or feeling unwell, but these are temporary things that pass after a couple of days, and usually it's because of the balancing that's happening within the body. So it's perfectly normal, but Reiki will not hurt or harm in any way. Reiki is for the highest good for all concerned. So that's a brief overview of what Reiki is. Let's move on to what the benefits are. So there are various benefits, and I'll go through a few now and then I'll talk about my experience with it, so hopefully that should go into the next section quite well. So the benefits of Reiki are: it reduces stress and anxiety, it promotes a feeling of calm, it relaxes the body and mind, it encourages emotional release. So some clients, even myself included, when I've had Reiki, I become emotional and started crying, and that's perfectly normal and okay. It's just the body's way of clearing some of the stagnant emotional energy that's there that needs to be released. It also helps with mental clarity, it eases pain and discomfort, it improves sleep, enhances spiritual connection, and changes negative conditioning and behaviors. And that's the main benefit that I experienced when receiving Reiki. So let's talk about my experience. The first time I had Reiki was about 2 years ago, and the reason I sought it was my granddad passed away the year before, and I was having a tough time dealing with his death, and the way he died was quite traumatic. He was attacked by dogs, and my aunt and granny were also attacked by the dogs, but unfortunately they survived. But my granddad was in hospital for about 2 months before he passed away, and I think the way he died was just really upsetting and horrific, and I didn't understand how to process it. So alongside the grief, I also had that trauma. Although I wasn't there and I didn't experience what they experienced, I still really felt it because I grew up with my granddad, so we were very close. We all lived in the same house. When he died, it was really impactful. So a friend mentioned it to me, and I heard about Reiki before, but I didn't really take it too seriously. I think I googled it and I saw a video of somebody lying on a table, and I probably didn't watch the whole thing or anything else, but I just didn't pay any attention to it because I just thought, well, what is that going to do for me? But when I was talking to my friend about how I was feeling, and she mentioned that her friend went for it who suffers from bad anxiety. So I thought I'd give it a try, and I found somebody local to me. After the first couple sessions, I felt like, this might seem like an exaggeration or a bit dramatic, but it honestly completely changed my life. It just changed my whole perspective. I was in a really dark place where I didn't know how to process the grief and what to do, and I just felt it was the end. After going for the Reiki sessions, I felt a renewed sense of hope, and I know that there's more to life after death, and I know that it's not the end, and I stopped questioning why it had to happen and why it had to happen to him. That was one of the things that was really upsetting me, like why did it have to happen, like why did he have to die this way. So it really helped me to process my feelings, just gave me a whole different perspective. I felt more connected to nature and even other people. It improved my relationship, so it just improved all areas of my life, and it just gave me a sense of connection and knowing that we're all connected and we're all the same and we all go through the same issues and feelings. Just having more compassion as well for myself and understanding that it's okay to feel however you're feeling, just not to sit with that emotion for too long. Don't let it consume you. Feel the feeling and then let it go. Apart from helping me with the grief, it just gave me a whole new perspective on life, and it gave me a sense of hope and gratitude. This sounds strange, but it felt like I woke up. It felt like before I had Reiki, I was in a sleep or unaware, and afterwards I just felt like something shifted and something changed, and I was just this sense of like being awake and being alive. It's really benefited me in many ways. That's one of the reasons I decided to become a practitioner. So last year I did the level 1 and level 2 courses. So with Reiki there's 3 levels, 1, 2, and the third is called Master, which can be Master Practitioner, where you're I think it's just a different level of energy. Or you can also be a teacher, where you can teach others, the first 2 levels. So I'm actually going for the master level course next month, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, I decided to learn Reiki because I just felt like a calling, and I felt like I needed to share this with other people, even if it's just my family. After my granddad died, I would constantly think about my granny and aunt and if they're okay and how they're feeling, and just missing them a lot because they're in South Africa. So after learning Reiki, I felt like I was able to do something, not just worry about it. Worry just creates more stress and negative emotions. So I felt like there was something that I could like actually do to help. So it kind of gave me like a sense of being empowered as well to make a difference. I practiced on my friends and family for a while, and then after learning level 2, I've created my own spiritual healing business. It's called Akasha. So the type of Reiki that I learned is called Reiki Seikim. So Reiki is the earth element, and Seikim is an ancient Egyptian healing technique, bringing in the other elements of air, fire, and water. So Reiki Seikim is a whole holistic healing modality. The name that I chose, Akasha, it's a Sanskrit word meaning ether or space, and some say it's the 5th element. So I just thought it was fitting because of the type of Reiki that I learned. And there are various types of Reiki as well. I think Usui Reiki is the original Reiki, and then there's lots of others that are there. But for me, this is the type that I had and learned, and it's really helped me so much. And now I do have clients and I'm able to help them, and that really brings me so much joy. And I'm just so grateful that I'm able to do this. Okay, so that was a bit about my experience, and let's talk about the energy centers, also known as chakras. So we have 7 main chakras in our body, from the base of our spine to the top of our heads. So chakras are just portals and the way we receive the energies. So as a practitioner, I am the channel for the Reiki, which is passing through me into the client. Everything is energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. So it's not my own energy or something that I'm creating, because that's not possible. Okay, so the first chakra is the root chakra, and that's to do with our sense of foundation, being grounded, survival issues like financial, also our sense of belonging. The next chakra is called our sacral chakra, which is below the belly button, and that's to do with our ability to accept others and new experiences, also to do with our well-being, pleasure, sexuality. The next one is the solar plexus, which is above the belly button, and this is to do with our confidence, our self-worth, our self-esteem. So the next chakra is the heart, and that's to do with our ability to love and feelings of compassion and joy. Next we have the throat chakra, which is about communication, expressing your self-truth, being your authentic self, being able to communicate well with others. Next chakra is your third eye, in between your eyebrows, and that's to do with perception, seeing things from a different perspective, having that connection, the intuition and wisdom. And the seventh one is the crown chakra, which is above your head, and that's to do with your spiritual connection and feelings of bliss and peace. So also the seven chakras have different colors associated with them. So from the root, it's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and white. And so another thing that I use are crystals to enhance the healings. And I have lots of different types, and each crystal has a different property, or several different properties even. And so what I do is a crystal grid just to enhance the healing. So sometimes I'll do a chakra one with the seven different colors and ask for the Reiki to clear and balance those chakras. Okay, so the next section is what happens during a Reiki session. There are two ways that Reiki can be administered. The first is an in-person treatment, physically being there with the practitioner and the client, or it can be done remotely via distance healing. And that's the main type of healing that I've been doing, distance healing, because of COVID and the restrictions. This is my experience with what happens during a face-to-face in-person treatment. You lie down on a table, and first I lie on my back, and then halfway through I'm on my stomach. The practitioner places their hands gently on certain areas of my body, and sometimes hovering over certain areas. Generally the session lasts for about 45 minutes. Sometimes I fall asleep, sometimes I see things, visualizing things and having things come to me, sometimes even hearing things. When I started going for Reiki, I used to see lots of different colors, and each color has its own meaning. I also used to have images pop into my mind. My eyes are closed, but I could see things. Those kinds of images gave me a sense of knowing that there's more to this physical world than we know. And there's so much that we won't know and don't understand. We just don't have the capacity to understand. But there are, and we have angels, and we have spirit guides, and even ancestors that are protecting us and guiding us in this lifetime. And we all have a soul purpose. Coming back to the feelings going on, and sometimes you might not experience anything. Sometimes you will probably just lie there. And I've had sessions like that where I didn't really sense much or feel much, but that's not to say that the Reiki is not working. It's all very subtle energy, and it's all to do with energy, as I said. It's still benefiting you. So that's generally it. You're fully clothed, you're just lying there with the practitioner laying hands on certain areas of your body. So sometimes also the Reiki practitioner's hands are quite warm, and that energy, I think it's just maybe a indication that it's just energy. But for me, sometimes when I feel heat in certain areas, I feel like it's a blockage that the energy is trying to work through. So feeling heat in the body is another one of the sensations that you might experience. Generally afterwards, both the practitioner and myself experience a lot, so we have a conversation about it. And I always joke and tell the lady that I go to that I feel like she's my therapist, because we talk about a lot. And even prior to going for Reiki, I did speak to counselors and therapists, and it did help to a certain extent, but I just felt I had like this intuitive feeling or knowing that I needed to find something more spiritual to help me. And I am quite spiritual even before I started Reiki. So I was really quite open to it, and I didn't know what to expect, but honestly it's just such a blessing, and I'm so grateful that I've found this. And my hope is to educate and just bring an awareness to what Reiki is, and want as many people as possible to try it. And you don't have to seek Reiki if you feel like something is wrong. Anybody can have Reiki. There's no requirements even to become a practitioner. I don't think there's nothing that you need to believe in, or it's just a wanting to learn this and be able to help others. So what happens during a distance session, and this is from my experience, and this is what I do with my own clients, so it's from my perspective. Other practitioners might be different. So as I mentioned before, the type of Reiki that I do is called Reiki Seikin, and using the different elements. So what happens for a distance Reiki session with myself is we arrange a mutually convenient time. As I'm in the UK and some of my clients are in other countries, I just make sure that the time is in line with their time zone as well. The session usually lasts about half an hour, and what I ask you to do is lie or sit down in a comfortable position, maybe listen to some music. If you go on YouTube and search Reiki music, there's loads that come up. I also have a Spotify playlist. Anything anything where you feel calm and relaxed. You're just trying to create this calm, relaxing environment. Also maybe light a candle if you like, and yeah, just close your eyes and just be open to receiving the healing. That's all I ask. And what I do is I'm doing the same thing. I'm listening to some relaxing music. I also have these Tibetan singing bowls. I also have this drum. I like to play that to kind of clear the energy and get my mind focused for what I'm going to do and tune into the energy. So during the session, I'm just setting the intention for the Reiki to heal all areas, like the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energies in the body, and for the healing to go, Reiki to go wherever it's needed. And I don't usually have to focus on an area. Sometimes the client would mention if something's troubling them, like with me with my grief. That's something that I mentioned to my practitioner when I first started seeing her. But the Reiki will go to wherever it's needed, as I mentioned, for the highest healing and for the highest good of the client. All I need to know is your full name and your location. So I write that on a piece of paper. And during the session, I sometimes sense things. I sometimes have visions of things, or I will hear things, or even smell things. So it's a very spiritual experience. And I'm not a psychic, and I don't claim to be a psychic, but they say that everybody is psychic. We all have that ability. It's just some people are more in tune with it than others. And prior to receiving Reiki or practicing it myself, I never had any kind of vision. The only thing I probably did was dream a lot, and I still do. I have lots of weird dreams, but that's the only kind of images that I used to see. But now, even if I sit and meditate, I'll probably be able to visualize something, which is strange at first, but it feels like, even when I hear things, it just sounds like my own voice telling me something, but it's really helpful. I did a session for a client once where she was having a daughter, and she was worried about what kind of mother she was going to be. And during the session, I saw an image of herself, her adult self, holding a little girl's hand, but the little girl wasn't her daughter. I felt like it was her inner child. And that was really profound. And even for me, I just felt there was some inner child work that she needed to do. And then I also looked into that, because I feel like we're all growing and we're all learning and we're all going through different experiences in order to grow and become better human beings. Even though I'm doing Reiki for a client, it's benefiting me just as much as it's benefiting them. Because of all these things that I see. So as I said, like, we all have the same issues, we all go through the same things, so it's all universal. So there's always something to be learned from every situation. And I think having that mindset, thinking about the situation, even if it's a bad situation, or you perceive it as bad, trying to look at things from a different perspective in order to learn the lesson instead of focusing on the negative that's happened. I read a quote once that said, "If you focus on the pain, you will suffer. But if you focus on the lesson, you will grow." And that really, and all these kinds of quotes that really inspire me to be aware of my own thoughts and also look within and try and change them if I'm going down a negative spiral or thinking about things in a negative way. We spend so much of time and energy focusing on all the bad stuff that could go wrong, but we never focus as much attention on what could go right. So I think it's a constant learning process, and nobody's perfect. I definitely am not, and I don't think anyone ever is. I don't think perfection exists. We can always grow spiritually and mentally, and just be more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and how that impacts not only ourselves but also others. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you again soon. Until the next time, love and light.